Good morning, everybody. I gotta adjust this because it's just me today. I'm trying to double check. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. It is just me, Sami Zoss, today, hanging out from small town Beersford, South Dakota. I'm actually in my local coffee shop. So, this is my friend Shania. I know Tim's not here to make fun of me and to tell me that we never know where I'm at, but I will say this has been kind of a fun little. We've got a big storm here, and so I came down to hang out with some friends down here, and I called Shania this morning, and I was like, "What would you say if I did the live stream from your coffee shop today?" So wonderful to be here with you all. Missing Tim as always, but I do have a fun special guest for you guys today. Excited to get into that. Before we do, hi everybody. I'm Sami Zoss. We're gonna hear that a little bit. It's gonna be really fun. Tim's gonna tell me I'm never allowed to do this again, but this is what he gets for not showing up today. So it's on him. Um, but I'm Sami Zoss. I'm here with the Human Stack. I'm an industry ambassador to the philanthropy and nonprofit space, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. We're going to go over Notebook LM a little bit more. It was actually funny enough, one of the things that we started all the way back when we started this podcast, even was what is something that nonprofits don't realize if they take advantage of. It could literally change how they do what they do, and that was Notebook LM back then. But what's crazy is the amount of improvements and enhancements that have been made. And so today's a little deep dive right back into that. But before we do that, I am so excited to bring to you one of my favorite colleagues that I have met in the last year. I work with her through the Human Stack and through an organization called Ascendably. And we work with her organization on digital culture and how to inspire a culture approach to any sort of digital implementation, information management, etc. And she's just been one of my favorite people to get to know over the last year. And I called her literally, you guys, like an hour ago, and I was like, "Hey, Tim bailed on me today. Like, are you interested in popping on for a little bit, talking about the work that you do, and then let's talk about," because I know they're a Google shop. So I was like, I want to hear how you're using AI or not. Because I know they're in the middle of talking about what sort of what's AI's role in what they do at Give Merit. So without further ado, everybody give it up for the one and only Kuhu from Give Merit. Usually I have this little it's like an air horn, a fake air horn. I go "Pew, pew, pew," just for you.
The sound effect works. I like it.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome, Kuhu. It's so
Thank
nice to have
you.
you here.
Thanks for
It's
having
fun to
me.
see you outside of our regular guidance meetings and the
I know
chaos of all the
one
other
day we'll
stuff.
meet in person too, which will be the funnest.
I am so excited for
Yeah.
that day. And you guys are in Detroit,
Yes.
Michigan. So tell
Hmm.
us a little bit about. I'm going to pop up on the screen. I've got a lower third that kind of just says Give Merit and givemerit.org. So if people want to
Perfect.
learn a
Thank
little bit
you.
more, I'm going to actually on the side here grab your LinkedIn and put it up on a QR code here in just a
Okay.
second as well. So I'm
Okay.
going to let you kind of introduce yourself and Give Merit and what you all do. Please take it
Sure.
away.
Yes. So Give Merit has been around for 14 years. It was founded by myself and one of my really good friends, David Merritt. We are here in Detroit helping young people aspire, believe, and contribute. We work with young people ages 14 to 24. We are looking for them to aspire. And so that is finding passions, finding the things that they want to do, the things they want to aspire to. It's instilling confidence in them so that they believe in their ability to go after those aspirations. And then finally, we think that if we can get them to aspire, to believe that they will contribute back to their communities. And so for the last 14 years since we've been around, we have facilitated one kind of cornerstone program called FATE, FATE. We have a partnership with a local high school here. We recruit around 25 to 28 new ninth graders every single year. And they are then in for the journey of a lifetime. They are with us for the next 10 years. And if you can imagine, once you're part of something for 10 years, there's a good chance it's sort of like it's a forever thing at that point.
Yes.
But so from 9th through 12th grade, they participate in weekly after school programming. It centers a lot around business, entrepreneurship, design thinking, and problem solving. And what's unique in many ways about the programming is that David and I also have a clothing brand, and we've run that for that, like kind of in adjacent to the work that we're doing. And so we ourselves are social entrepreneurs and running a brand. And so a lot of the curriculum kind of is under the umbrella of our brand. And one of the ways that we think instilling how you can actually instill confidence is not through hypothetical projects, but through real life projects. And so each year, our students work on a project specific to that company. And what's cool about it is that what they produce is used. And so, you're 14, you're 15, and you are in ninth grade creating a marketing and advertising campaign for the brand. And then the winning group is paid for their work, and then the work is used in real life. And so, a few years ago, we had a partnership with a movie theater that has multiple theaters around kind of Metro Detroit area, and they played the winning commercial as part of that campaign before every movie that aired. So think about going to the movies with your friends and something you created,
God,
and oftentimes you've also starred in because you're creating it, um,
100%.
is on the big screen. And like, think about what that does for at any age your confidence to see that in
Yes.
that way. And so each subsequent year works on different projects. One year works on a product collection. One year puts on a charitable event. They learn about hospitality and event planning and sponsorship. Um, and then in their final year, we pair them to kind of serve as a youth marketing firm to do a project for a partner company. And so they're able to take their skills to another partner. So from ninth through 12th grade, we are working on projects like this, but we are also really trying to build up holistically each of the students we're working with to help them see themselves as we see them, which is full of value, very bright, very intelligent, so much to offer, resilient, all the things. We call them world changers, we call them world class citizens. Not that they're going to be that, but they are already that. And
Yeah.
so that is ninth through 12th grade. And then upon graduation, they enter our alumni program. And so even during those high school years, we're really thinking about college access and success, and we're laying a foundation for how that actually happens in their post-secondary years. And during that time, post high school, they're eligible for up to $20,000 in scholarships per person over those 6 years
Whoa.
pathway. They get ongoing coaching and persistent support. They get some academic support, and then those scholarships, as well as hiring opportunities. So we have young people who have gone to college come out, and particularly in the economies that we have been seeing, not being able to translate that into a career. And so how do we continue to support in that way too? So we've been running this FATE program, a 10-year cohort-based program for the since 2012. And then we are now also building out a very exciting project in a neighborhood in the city of Detroit, a long neglected but very deserving neighborhood, which is called Merritt Park. Merritt Park. It's perky. Merritt Park.
Oh, there's a
Um,
pun in there somewhere for sure.
there's something happening there. Which is over an acre of land. It's going to serve a neighborhood. It's going to allow us to 10x our impact. We work with around 200 young people now, so thousands of young people, but
Oh,
also extend that to families as well. So it'll bring health, wellness, nutrition, recreation, athletics to this neighborhood, but it'll also be an opportunity to bring more financial education. It'll be an opportunity to bring farmers markets. It'll be an opportunity to bring economic revitalization. And so that is under construction and will be open in spring 2026.
that's so. For those of you guys who are listening, like these are not fake reactions. I get to talk to Kuhu about her data often. I don't get to hear her talk directly to the mission nearly as often. And so to hear the passion, and like the nice part is working with you all, like you know that you have passion for what you
Yeah.
do. We just only have so much time and we're trying to make sure that things are working the way they're supposed to, right? But then to get in and really see the passion in what you do and how you're thinking about the expansion and thinking about it in an impact, qualitative and quantitative. I think that's just so fun to listen to. And like that's one of my favorite things about what we do is just letting nonprofit leaders just talk because that's how you can tell the ones that are really in it for the mission
Mm.
because it's just like so core to their soul. Like they light up, they speak differently when they're talking about the programs. And so it's just super fun. And my brain goes like 8 million miles a minute per usual because I'm thinking like, gosh, okay, so if somebody wants to partner with you guys to be one of those businesses, like how do they do that? Obviously, everyone should know that I'm going to give a shout out. Like you can go donate on givemerit.org. You certainly should do that. But, if someone's in the Detroit area or not in the Detroit area, are they able to partner with you all on being one of those businesses? What does that look like?
Mhm.
Anything to sort of like spread the word on how to get involved here.
100%. We are always looking for unique ways to um, engage with partners.
Hmm.
And, you know, part of this is also like the localization and being able to share with our young people, like what is available right here, because Detroit is a massive city. And,
Yeah.
I'm sure many people have seen how much has happened in our downtown, and it's incredible. I live here, I work here, I love it. And also, we haven't really reached our neighborhoods in the same way. And so part of this is like, how do I expose the youth that we get to work with to everything there is to offer here, so they also see how amazing where they live is. And then the other part
Yeah.
is like, how do I expose them even more broadly? So we are open to partnerships all over. We have found unique ways to do that. We are hoping to maybe do something where we're able to take our kids on a trip somewhere too, TBD, where we're able to work with other youth in another city, to be able for them to be able to kind of like culture share and talk about who they are. And so open to all of that. Please reach out. I see my LinkedIn has come up. And so please reach out. And then also on givemerit.org, there is a like get involved page that you can use as well.
Nice. I love that. I love that. Yeah. So we've got Kuhu's LinkedIn up here. It's also just if you go to LinkedIn and search Kuhu, Kuhu, Saha, Saha. It's real nice and simple. And I
Yeah,
just
there's not
tagged
too
her in the
many of me.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's nice. I tagged her in the LinkedIn too. So if you're watching on LinkedIn or you go back and see it, you'll see her tagged there, and you can go ahead and go find her that way. Um, but yeah, I will just say that it is so fun to hear about. Like I remember when you guys were telling me about the one of the showcases that was
Yeah.
going on last spring, and I remember like I literally looked at flight prices to like how expensive would it be to just get to Detroit to check this out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, flying out of Sioux Falls is like never cheap, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Um, but I thank you so much for sharing that with us and for sharing the holistic picture and sort of why it's rooted for you and David too. I think that's really helpful.
Hmm.
Um, and what a great example of two community members seeing a need and really just like attacking it. Um, and I love that, like, I'm sure at times you maybe have felt that you bought a bit off more than you can chew, but I like that you're iteratively adding, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
we didn't go for broke to start. We were like, okay, how do we create an infrastructure that can last
Yeah.
so we can test other things, and if those other things don't work, we are okay in our core, in our foundation. And so,
Yeah.
just super props to you and David.
Thank you.
And thank you for hopping on and tell us a little bit about that. Before I let you go, because I know you've got a meeting here shortly, Tim and I hang out on this podcast every week to talk through. But right now, we've been doing Google for nonprofits because
Hmm.
it's free or significantly discounted for
Hmm.
nonprofits. We don't get anything from Google for it. But there's so many like hidden gems, no pun intended, in there
Hmm.
that we just want to like sort of like show the world how to explore and how to utilize the tools in front of them. So my question to you, which I'm surprised we haven't really talked about, but I guess the work that we do is more in a different infrastructure. How is Give Merit looking at AI? Are you guys using it sort of just ancillary right now? What are some of the things that you're hoping it can help you do, but you haven't really gotten to figure out yet? Talk to me a little bit about that because I know that's sort of stuff you're exploring right now.
Yeah. I was going to ask you define ancillary for me, because like I believe I know what it means, but like sort of like
Oh,
on the periphery, like it's like, is that what
yep.
you mean? Like we're sort of okay. I just
I
want to make
hope that's
sure
what
that
it means because
yeah,
otherwise I've been using that
no,
word wrong for so long.
I believe that's what it means too, but like I was just like, huh, like am I going to answer this question correctly? Okay, so um
We're both going to look it up and it's going to be a
we yeah,
completely
we're gonna be like, okay.
different.
No, we are very interested in how AI can help us increase our impact.
Hmm.
And I think that in some ways that means like, how does it help us be more efficient? I think in some ways it means how does it help us look at the data in ways that maybe we haven't been able to before? And
Okay.
in some ways, I think it means like, how does it actually help us stretch the data, right? Like, we have our data, and this is something we have talked a little bit in
Mm,
our sessions on is like, what are the key indicators of our data in comparison to other folks and the way they're looking at things and how they're benchmarking to be able to tell our story, to be able to um, uh, like catalyze more funding, so on and so forth, to be able to
mhm.
expand our work. So we're very interested in how it can do those things. I do not have the answers on how it can
None
do
of
those
us do.
specifically yet, but we're interested in it and we're thinking about it and we are having conversations about it, which I think is as good as we can get right now. Um,
Absolutely.
and I think that we've talked a lot about Gemini and we've talked about kind of its capacity. And so that is one way that the team is using like the kind of the Google version of all of
Hmm.
it right now. Um, not without its challenges for sure, but also how great to be able to focus on a meeting and maybe not have to write every word down, but then be able
Hmm.
to look back at a transcript and say, "Oh, this caught it a little funky. This is what we actually meant," but I can like make that adjustment. Like how great
Yeah.
where because I am the person who like if I'm taking notes during a meeting, I am a transcriber. Like I am
Yep.
writing
You want to write everything.
I'm writing everything down and then it is really helpful to me. So then to have to have something else transcribed for me, great. I don't have to write every little thing down. And if a word is messed up, like we're going to remember what that is for the most part or be able to look back and make that adjustment. So the team is using that right now. I think also some of like I just think about some of the integrations that we're using. Oops, I'm sorry, that's my repeating. I think about some of the um, um, like interactions that we're seeing right now just to be able to integrate like even on the fundraising side being able to integrate like our donations coming in through our site into like our Salesforce, like sort of just that whole integration. Giving Tuesday this past week, that was last week, we for the first time as a team did like a full phone banking day, which with each team member making calls, it was like almost emotional for me. Like it was so
Oh.
to get to a place where I have an amazing team who cares a lot, who brings that same level of passion,
Hmm.
who understand that on an everyday basis, each team member is doing some level of fundraising just by existing and doing their work to be able to reach the type of impact that we are hoping to be able to reach the kids in the way that we do. And now like we get to make some calls and make some asks, which is cool too. But the coolest part about this is that because of the integration that we are using right now, which is like we have fundraise up set up as like our back end to our donations coming in on our site. There's an automatic integration to Salesforce and we like set up a campaign in Salesforce. Like immediately I was able to see in my campaign setup in Salesforce that like what traction we made. So like every time a donation came out online, it automatically showed up under that campaign. And it was like, $2,000 raised towards goal, 3,000 raised towards goal. Like it was just like we've never been
That's so
able to do that. I'm
awesome.
always doing like back of the napkin math. I'm always doing like a weird, like, let me figure it out. And I write down a number and then I look back at it later and I don't know how we got there, And so
I feel that.
that's been
I feel
very
that.
cool. Yeah, very cool.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that because I think that's one thing. So Fundraise Up is an organization. I'm sure we'll have them on sometime because they use a lot of AI powered insights,
Mhm.
and different than the AI we think of today, which is like generative AI.
Yeah.
They've been around. I want to say since like 2019. That could be
Mhm.
wrong though. Um, but the reason they're booming is because they make it as simple as possible on the end user and then they integrate with the other things. So they're not trying to be something that they aren't. They're really just trying to be in their existence. We are going to be the people that'll get you the dollars and we will make sure it is easy for you to see how many of those you got in whatever system you have. And I think to
Mhm.
your point, that's why they're so wonderful to work with. And then what I'm hearing you say is your ability to see the full picture at once is like now possible. So then that next step, right, is really how can we utilize this generative AI piece to then take the data that you're getting in real time that you now
Mhm.
trust, You have confidence in this data. How do I take that and really form that impact picture
Yep.
with it?
Yep.
I think we're going to have to invite you on for another episode where we like actually pull some of your data, anonymize
Sure.
it, and then we show you some of the things that like we've been demonstrating. I mean, there's new things. There's like 8 new features I wanted to show everybody today, and I was like, we're just going to do one. Um, but like even in Google Sheets, there's an update on workflows, and so you could
Mm.
automate some stuff from that. There's
Mhm.
AI right in Google Sheets, so like we could work on a prompt that helps you figure out what you would want to say for an intro for somebody, some of that
Mm.
stuff,
Mhm.
all the way to one of the things I'm going to work on today in our Notebook LM is creating a video
Yeah.
that just says like, hey, thank you so much for supporting, like here's the impact that you made this year.
Cool.
And then the cool part about Google is like you could do that with Google's Gemini VO, which like
Mhm.
just makes a video, but they also have Google Vids where it'll make like a video almost in like PowerPoint layout,
Mm.
and then you could put in your own images, right? So then like it could be give merit images, but
Mhm.
someone else did some, you know what I mean? Like they did the 80% to get you there. You're then only focused on that 20% to delivery,
Yeah.
not the like, how do we do this? Where do we take this from here? Like
Yeah.
it does that piece for you. So I think that what I'm hearing is we're gonna have you back on and do one of those with you someday. So
Let's do it. I'd be happy to.
we would love to have you. And I know Tim's gonna be super mad that I invited you on a day that he wasn't
And
here.
he's not
So
here.
that's all right. That's what he gets. He's bailing on me next week too. So
Oh, man.
he gets a little snark.
Yeah.
But Kuhu, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us. I really,
Sami.
really appreciate it. Like we said, you guys go to givemerit.org, check it out, give Kuhu some love in the comments, shout her out on LinkedIn, and look forward to the day we welcome you back, and we'll make a little case study out of you guys.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuhu. Have a wonderful
Yes, you too.
holiday.
Bye.
Oh, that was so awesome. I just adore working with that organization and all that they do. So, once again, thank you so much, Kuhu, for popping in. Um, I think, though, we are ready to really dive into it. And so, for the last little bit of today, oh, Kuhu's so sweet. She said thank you on our back channel. I'm going to say thank you back. um, this is the problem with only one of us is when I'm live, I'm like, well, I've got to pause because I can't think and talk and type all at the same time. So here we are. um, I want to dive into Notebook LM and just walk through some of the updates that we've had since that first episode. Remember the first episode was really the coolest or newest feature that we had was the audio overviews, which were essentially realistic, lifelike podcast hosts that would do a deep dive, and you could kind of prompt them to deep dive a certain way. And so I'm going to share my screen and we are literally going to walk through what it is like to set you up for a good Notebook LM. And then next week, I'm going to take us through all of the ways in which we can use it. So if you don't have a Notebook LM set up, it gives you time between this week and next week to really get in, set it up, get your policies in there or your impact or your Giving Tuesday data, which I really want everyone to put in. And then we'll be able to play around just a little bit with it next week. So hopefully everybody comes with that prepared. But let me go ahead and get this up. And for those of you who are going to follow along, if you just go to notebooklm.google.com, it'll load right up for you. And then I'm going to share my screen here. This is what I mean. It's so nice when you have somebody that can like chat with you a little. It's okay though. Goodness knows you guys know I'm not concerned. See, I was going to start one for Give Merit even. You guys know I am not shy by any means. I'm going to move the camera over here so I can at least see and make sure that I don't look ridiculous. Perfect. All right, so we're going to create a new notebook. Remember, we just went notebooklm.google.com. Okay, we're going to create a new notebook. And so this is we're already into new things, right? So when it pops up, it says create audio and video overviews from, and then insert whatever. Um, I'll show you in one of the ones that I did. I actually imported all of the AI for Anyone Live YouTube videos. And you could just do that by pasting in the links, website or YouTube URLs. And then it'll pull, if it's a YouTube URL, it pulls in the transcription. If it's a website, it'll scrape the website. One thing I haven't found is it's not great at scraping like the entire domain. Like you really do need to add the specific URL that you want. So if you want, givemerit.org/get involved, you would need to do that, not just givemerit.org. You can upload files so straight from your computer, you could click any of those, You can copy any paste or paste any copied text. And then finally, the most interesting piece of this being you could actually then utilize your organization's files if you're already in the drive. So for me, I've got in our AI for Anyone Live, in our I created another organization called the Loomis Learning Collective. And it's mirrored off of what Dan Kershaw brought up about all of us being different parts of the wizarding world in our practice with AI. And so I'm going to continue building this piece out. But for now, I'm going to add in. So here, let me walk through. I've got sort of just the about, um, mission, vision, values, our program, strategic plan, our structure, bylaws, policies, a case for support, grant concept. You don't need all of this, right? Like, and let me be so for real. AI created all of this for me. I actually was in and trying to add and enhance some of them today because I just didn't like them as much. But what I would say is if we were really just trying to get started with our organization, I would add an about. And if you don't have that, I would put your website. So lumoslearningcollective.com/about or whatever yours would be. Mission, vision, values, if you could. Org structure and roles. I think if you have a case for support, put that in. Website copy, or just put in your website. Press kit, anything you've got like branding, boilerplate, etc. And then I'm going to put in our programs portfolio just because I think that'd be helpful. So I'm just going to hit insert, and that put all of those right over here. So I'm going to change the name of this. Oh, it already did it for me. Look at that. So right off the bat, we've already got some things to look at here. I'm going to zoom in. There we go. I need like background music or something. That would be kind of fun. I'm going to zoom in, and you can see, so it renamed it Loomis Learning Collective Mission Structure and Programs, which feels like it very much fits with what we were doing. And it tells you, I'm not going to read it all to you guys, but the provided sources detail the structure, mission, and programming of the fictional nonprofit Lumos Learning Collective, which aims to help orgs, schools, and libraries responsibly adopt AI and digital tools. I absolutely love it. It gave me a nice little overview here. My next thing that I want to point out is actually not even in the studio, which is where some of the things we'll play with next week are. I will give you a little sneak preview today, though. One of the things that I always like to start with is um, would there be additional documents or enhancements to the current docs that would help give a better picture of the Lumos Learning Collective? I hope to use this notebook for impact reporting and program analysis in the future. So what I'm doing there is basically just asking the AI, like, okay, I think I've given you enough, but can you analyze? Here's my end goal, right? I want to use this for impact reporting and program analysis. From there, it's allowing me then to say, okay, here's what I want to do. What do you think we still need? Like, do you have enough? If you have enough, great. But if you don't, tell me what you think is missing. What I'm hoping this will allow me to do is either tell me enhance these documents because there's not enough information in there, or it'll say add these things, right? So let's see what it gave me here because this looks real confusing. So to support your goal, the current documentation provides a strong structural foundation but lacks the granular data and methodological. I have no idea how to say that word. Whatever. And methodology and frameworks necessary for deep analysis. Here are specific documents and enhancements that would provide a comprehensive picture. Evaluation frameworks and data instruments. Okay, we love that. The current documents mention results, but they don't explain how they were measured. Wonderful. So then it kind of gives us like some ways you can do that: pre and post program surveys, longitudinal tracking data, logic models, or theory of change. Love that. Second, program curricula and implementation guides. This is a director of programs and curriculum designers oversee content, but the analysis requires the specific materials. So they can't analyze the program if they don't see what materials we're actually utilizing. So syllabi, data, the community data lab scoping documents, tech fellow rosters, and guidelines. I love that. And then lastly, it mentioned financial, oh wait, not lastly, mentioned financial and operational efficiency data. So we say we manage a budget of this size, but we don't have those documents in here. Program budget versus actuals, pipeline reports on the fundraising, volunteer management metrics. I love that. And actually, last is the strategic governance documents. So the board of directors is establishing long term strategy, but our current document really doesn't specify what the growth phase would look like, or we don't have a risk management register. So the summary is currently the documents provide a blueprint of a house. To perform impact and reporting analysis, we do the construction logs and utility bills. I love that it gave me an analogy. The specific evidence showing how the house was built, how much energy it uses, and whether people living inside are actually comfortable. All right, so I'm gonna say, okay, this is super helpful. Can you help me with step-by-step prompts, instructions, etc., to build out that data, either from what I currently have in my drive, or if I need to build it / collect it, how to structure it and do so. Oh, and then of course I hit, there we go, how to structure it and do so. Um, what I'm looking for here is, will it tell me, okay, for number one, if we want logic models or theory of change? It knows this is a fictitious organization, so it may just give me some. But for a perspective of, say, this is give merit, and it would say, okay, but what is the logic models behind the impact? Like, what is the impact you want to make, and how are you explaining program to end user to impact, and what does that journey look like, and how are you getting there? Um, I would love for it to tell me, you know, first do a search on the web and then look in your documents for anything around these parameters or this sort of um, criteria, just to really help us see where we can be looking and where we could be enhancing. Um, all of that to say, the reason why I'm spending some time on enhancing today is because we're coming back to this next week to really talk through how to then use this. And one of the main things that you'll find with AI, and I'm sure all of you have felt it, is there's this concern that, like, it's just not good enough. Um, and it creates what we would call AI slop, or it's lazy, or it's just a little inaccurate. And I think first and foremost, it's really important to note, like, we are responsible for what we publish, right? So if at the end of the day we publish an impact report that's incorrect because we only used AI and we didn't analyze, check some of this stuff, that is still on us. That's not an AI problem, that's an us problem. Um, oh, and it was like, no, thank you. Oh, it's still going. It's just being weird. Okay. But the flip side of that, I kind of forgot where I was going with it. I apologize. The flip side, though, is really that we need to be able to show, hey, I want you to be as perfect as you can, because I want to get, the goal is this thing gets you to 80%. And if you don't set it up well, you're not going to get to that 80%. I almost think I would prefer to say, like, we have to do the first 10%. AI does the next 60, and then we have to do the last 20%. Because the first 10% is really like, do we have what we need to make this successful? Right. So this is me trying to get that first 10% of, okay, I've got some things here, but I'm sure they're not as strong as they could be. And I really need this impact report and program analysis strong. Ergo, help me analyze what I need and give me a recommendation on what to do. One thing that I also find that people really don't think about is, like, when in doubt, ask the AI. So, like, you could literally ask it, like, hey, what more information would need to be provided so I could do this thing? Or, hey, if you were me and you were getting the instructions that you're given, what would you do? How would you do this? That's one thing that I just think it just doesn't come to our mind because it's not how we're used to those interfaces. Like, we're still used to them more like a chat, or I mean, like a search or a query, not a thought partner, a brainstormer. So just a little tip there. All right, so since the current source provide high level what and why, but lack the how and how much, you'll need to generate synthetic data to build a functional notebook for analysis. So the way this would work for a non-fictional organization would be, essentially, you will need to identify or gather the data necessary, right? So step one, build the impact logic model. Owner, this person. Goal, connect the activities and programs portfolio to the outcomes in the case for support. How to structure it. And this is exactly what I was looking for. Prompt generate this data, acting as this person. Draft a logic model for the AI literacy workshops described in the program's portfolio. Oh, we love to see it. Okay, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to actually add in the rest of the documents from the Google Drive so we can see here all of the ones. And the reason I'm doing that is because what I really want it to do is take, since I have to make some of this data, I want it to be able to tell me what I'm missing and what I'm not, and not recreate things that maybe already exist. So let me add these last little bits here, insert. Okay, so before I even move on to step two, I'm literally going to copy this prompt. We're going to read it through. Ooh, where'd it go? There we go. Okay. We're going to copy this prompt, acting as the learning and evaluation lead, draft a logic model for the AI literacy workshops described in the program's portfolio. So I'm literally just going to paste that right here. While that's working, let's look through step number two. All right, create evaluation instruments. So this is basically saying like find the raw data of your evaluation of your programs, right? So if you've got with the AI literacy program with the Impact Me Foundation, we've talked about how we created a survey and we had the programs overview and the outcomes survey essentially. So it's like, hey, how did this help or did it not or anything in between? And so, sorry, it keeps jumping down to the bottom. And so this is where it's saying like basically get a pre and post workshop survey. Here's a prompt to generate this. Like I love that it gave me that. Okay, so let's look at the logic model. Here's a logic model drafted from the perspective of learning and evaluation lead. This model connects the resources defined in the org chart and the specific activities and outcomes outlined in the program's portfolio and strategic plan. So inputs, resources invested, activities, what we do, outputs, direct products, outcomes, short-term changes, and then impact is a long-term benefits. I love this. So then it says what the description is, and then the data source / metric used to define it. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, so then the next question, right, is how do you get this into your notebook? So I'm going to put save to note. It's going to generate the note over here and then convert to source. So now when I scroll down here, it is a source right there. Okay, so let's do one more. Let's actually, you know what? From here, let's go ahead and okay, knowing here, I'm gonna actually first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this guy and put it in a note so when we revisit next week, I can generate these documents and have it added in here. But then what we're gonna do, this last thing, I'm gonna clear my history. So really important. This it clears. Like once you leave your notebook, the chat clears. So anything that it says or you want added, you can add the notes. You can take whatever notes you would like here. You can add sources, but once you like leave this page or you hit clear, like those chats are gone forever. There's no history for you to go find, so don't lose them. So I'm gonna delete my chat history. The next thing I really want this to do is I want to just see I want to give you guys like a little taste of what this can become. So first and foremost, I always love a mind map. And so what this will do is essentially generate a flow chart of how all of this information logically flows together. And so it's a really good way to see like, do you have logic in your systems? Is it crazy vertically integrated and you don't have enough versatility on horizontal levels? Different things like that, right? So here's the overview. Here's our core identity. Whoa. I'm back. Oh, when I clicked it, it did the thing. Okay. And you can see each of these are just coming. I love that it headquarters in Sioux Falls. Clearly, you can tell I made it, not Tim. And this is all just one of these, right? So then here's our programs portfolio. And you'll start to see how far out this thing expands. And that's where you can start to see, okay, does this feel like a logical line of thinking, right? Like, does it make sense that we've got our Lumos Learning Collective, then under the programs portfolio, we have responsible AI resource library, and within that resource library, we update it quarterly, and it's got open guides, templates, and case studies. That absolutely sounds great. Should it go under anything else? Programs portfolio, strategic goals, core identity, and mandate? I don't think so. Um, and so it really helps you see where things make sense and maybe where things don't, right? If you don't want this stuff conflated with financials and you want fundraising and financials separated, how are you structuring your governing documents and your core organizational documents to really match that? This really just tells you what objectively how you're prioritizing things and how you're categorizing things. And then, I mean, look at that. It's super tiny. I can't read it either. This is where I would make fun of Tim for being old. But don't don't sleep on this. Like the mind maps are like some of my absolute favorite things. So, and then you can save it as a PNG if you would like. And then, so I want to make sure we show people that because I think that's really helpful. The other thing I want to show us in the studio here is actually the infographic. I didn't mean to just click it. So if you just click it like that, it'll just create one. If you click the little pencil right there, let me go back. So if you click this little pencil right here, here, this pops up, right? And so we could show level of detail, standard or concise. I'm going to do concise. And then let me pull up the Human Stack brand really quick, the Human Stack colors, because I think that's going to be fun to pop in. Tim's got this cool hack where he's got it saved as like, it's called a hotkey. And that's where like he just hits like control SD or something like that. And it just pops all of the brand colors in for him. I unfortunately am not that cool. And so I have to go like search for it. But, and like, a better Sami probably would have had those copied already, but we're all just like doing our best. That's all. Um, so much appreciated, friends. I've got like two more scrolls worth, and if I don't find it, I'll just pick a different one. Let me search hex codes. Life is fun. Huh? It's chaos. I know somewhere I actually put in the what is it called? I made a CSS guide for it. So we want to match the human stack branding, and then I'm just going to put in the hex codes. Ideally, you would put like if you had an actual brand code or brand kit or anything like that. But describe the infographic you want to create. Explain the impact. Let's just see what it'll make of this without data to back it up. Explain the impact of Lumos Learning Collective. We want to match the human stack branding. So I'm going to hit generate. We're going to let that generate. While it's generating, let's look at the one where it just generated with no prompt, no nothing. Practical AI for social good. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this. Okay, so Lumos Learning Collective, practical AI for social good. I do see, which this is pretty abnormal for Gemini or Nano Banana 3, which is the image generator here. This not being spelt right is actually really abnormal. AI for crowded sector, change fatigue, policy confusion. My gosh, they really did capture the essence of what this org would really try to be getting at, though. And think about like at minimum, this gives me a really good idea of what I want this to look like in our perspective of I want to make an infographic to put out into the world. This can at least get me started on design ideas, and then I can send it to my designer to alter, update, fix, etc. I mean, there's some really cool things in that I didn't even think of, so that's pretty awesome. um, while that last infographic is generating, I want to show us this search function because we're talking about adding to our sources, right? So if I want to search the web for sources, I want to search AI compared to Hogwarts. Be interesting. So fast research is more enhanced than just like your general Google search. You can prompt it a little bit more like a generative AI prompt rather than a Google search, but you don't have to do it this in-depth, deep research where you want like white paper level citing and things like that. But here's the piece that I really love about this. it allows you to select all or none of the sources to actually like consider adding them to your sources in this notebook, right? So these sources connect the mechanics of AI to the magic of the Harry Potter universe, the magical world of machine learning at Hogwarts. Love that. Artificially intelligent sorting hat. These are so fun. I don't actually know that I would end up using any of these, but now I'm going to have to go through and research these because this is awesome. Um, let's go back to this and let's say import or delete. Okay, so I want to delete. There we go. Let's go back to this and say nonprofit impact measurement and program evaluation industry best practices. Those might be ones that are helpful to add here. So let's see what comes up. And then what we'll do is we'll look and we'll see, these are one or two that we really do kind of vibe with, and an organization that we want to be like, or we want to follow their standards. Like a good one would be the case counting standards. If you're a higher education org, CASE stands for Council for Advancement and Support of Education, etc. You might want those in here because that's how you calculate impact on your campaigns. Okay, a practical guide to nonprofit. Here's the other piece, and let me see. Let me share this tab instead. So it actually like takes you then to where it got this. So like I can see, okay, it's relatively recent. I can do a little research on the organization if I want and see like, okay, what is this group? Do I feel like it, aligns with the organizations that I want to align with, etc. And for that one, I'm like, well, I appreciate it, but I don't really know much about that org. I'm not going to do it. So then you can kind of go through and vet these, right? So this is instrumental, and I do usually really like what they have out there. Logic models, love that. Love the theory of change piece. Let's add, let's just add them all. We're going to import them all. I love that. So now I've got sources related to impact measurement, right? So given the context of LLC and the instructions from the industry experts on program eval and impact measurements, can you create a preliminary overview of the actually create a preliminary SWOT of the org, 3 impact, and another 3 programs. Sure. While that's loading, let's look at the infographic that we created in the human stack branding. Remember? There we go. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so if we couldn't remember our prompt, it said explain the impact of this org, and we want to match the human stack branding. And I only gave it colors. This is so fun though, right? More time for your mission. The Lumos effect. I love that. Nonprofits and schools can't often adopt new tools due to budget constraints, change fatigue, and a lack of practical, trustworthy training. We deliver hands-on workshops. Teams report saving this much, which is an awesome qualitative impact measurement. Beyond time savings, teams report higher confidence. So then we've got that qualitative as well. Really clean and easy to read. Consistency in design. I don't know. Forgive me. I'm not tired. I just yawn when I'm on camera, apparently. I don't know that I would need to edit this, though, right? Like, this is one that I really do feel like I could take and start moving with. But I also know that, like, this gives me a good idea of how simple it would be for me to duplicate something like this on, like, Canva. So cool. All right, let's leave us with the SWOT analysis that it gave us, right? So, SWOT 1, impact measurement. Success we measure through time saved and confidence/safety, aiming for practical non-hype metrics. So we've got a clear logic model alignment, pragmatic metrics selection, dedicated eval role. Those are all strengths. Weaknesses, we rely on self-reporting data. Attribution challenges, it's difficult to prove the 3 to 5 hours saved. Difficulty measuring prevention. I love that. Opportunities, adopting SROI principles, strengthening case for support by converting hours saved to a financial proxy, social return on investment, love that, mixed methods storytelling, safety and confidence are qualitative, LLC is well positioned to use mixed methods. I love that. Define dead weight, And then the threats: pressure for randomized control trials. Funders may demand a gold standard. Evaluation lag, real outcome changes take time. I think that's one that so many of us feel. So that'd be fun to dive into a little bit more. And then, of course, on the programs, it did the same thing. But I think all in all, like, we've barely scraped the surface, right? Like, these are just a few little bits, hyper focused on impact and program management, that we could really, really expand on. So I want to know next week, um, show up with your notebook LM, or at least get your documents in a Google Drive folder. And we'll talk through the different ways that we can utilize those types of documents. I'll put it on the LinkedIn. I will put it on the YouTube. And we'll send a message out to our AI club members and just let everybody know, hey, come with these sorts of documents on your organization, and you're going to leave with some pretty awesome data from there. So excited to see you all next week. Let me stop sharing so I can pull you all over to this screen. The solo world is so intriguing. Also, shout out to Shania and crew over here. They're gonna freak out when they realize that I got it turned to them. Say hi.
Ah. Oh God, hi. I was not paying attention.
Told you. Shout out to Rainy Day Coffee Company. I'm gonna actually put their chat, or their whatever website in the chat here, because, so, little side note, my parents used to own this restaurant, and then Shania came in. I mean, they were out of it for a while, and then Shania bought it and reopened it as a coffee shop. And so this is just like so fun for me to like be here in my hometown and really see like the way the world like just sort of comes back, and in such crazy circuitous ways. So Rainy Day Coffee Company, and she does have like little, holiday treats and things. So feel free. Feel free. I also love, shout out to Kelly, and that's my best friend. She's commenting. She said, hello. Love seeing her in the chat, and I always love seeing all of you in the chat. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I really look forward to seeing you next week. I forgot to put the QR code up, so I'll put it up here while we're heading out. We'll see everybody next week, and if you're anywhere near me, stay warm in this little polar vortex we're having. So we'll chat with you later. Bye, everybody.